Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. Good afternoon and welcome to the show. You're tuned in to Heard on Thursdays, the show that made Philippine FM radio talk KBP's best podcast program right here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today's conversation is all about identity and what happens when people think that they already know your story. So, because you have a certain last name, those born into the spotlight or adjacent to it, the world can be quick to assign labels. Nepo baby, anak ni, next in line, often without taking the time to see the person behind the title. For actress Angela Alarcon, the daughter of actor and politician Jestoni Alarcon, being called a Nepo baby is something that she's had to live with and live beyond. But what does it really mean to grow up with a legacy and still have to fight to be seen? This week, we dive into the messy middle of it all. Pressure, expectations, and the quiet work of carving your own identity in an industry that loves to define you before you even begin. We'll talk about navigating show business, staying grounded in her own journey, and learning to hold space for both privilege and personal growth. This episode is about rewriting the narrative and remembering that you are not your last name. You're your own story. Heard on Thursdays. Let's welcome to the show, Angela Alarcon.
Hey,
Angela! It's so good to have you here. We are so excited to have you on the show. I feel like this conversation has been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start simple. Not the showbiz intro, not the Google bio, okay? Your intro. So how would you introduce yourself, let's say at a party or just to people who don't know who you are?
Usually I come up to them and say, hey, I'm Angela. You can call me Alarx. Or, I say my nickname is Alarx. And sometimes I just say, oh, I'm into, sports. I do a lot of fitness. I like art, stuff like that. So I just tell them like stuff about, the hobbies I do and all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you ever talk about, do you ever go and say, I'm an actress? Is that
sometimes they just catch it, because eventually I talk about how I love film, and it eventually goes to how I love photography and video and all that stuff. So eventually it gets to that point where they just, figure it out, and I have no choice but to just tell them. But it's all good. I mean, it's not really a problem.
Is it something that you like to lead with, or you'd rather it come later in the conversation?
Yeah, the latter. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I prefer for them to get to know me first rather than the profession I do.
Right.
Because sometimes it changes from when they find out, they get so curious, so do you know who this is? Or, stuff like that. It gets into a weird, direction rather than, getting to know me for me.
Fair. That makes so much sense. Now, I know a lot of people associate you with your family. I mean, we are going to get into that later on. But for anybody tuning in who's not familiar with your work yet, how would you describe what you do and what lights you up as a creative?
Okay, so I'm an actress. I also do a lot of content with fitness and fashion, beauty, and a lot of modeling works as well. I'm also very much into creating reels with fitness and my day-to-day life and stuff like that. So what lights me up, basically seeing people who do the same, when I'm just surrounded with like-minded individuals. When I see your content, it also makes me super inspired to continue what I'm doing. So yeah, it's the people I'm also surrounded with that really inspires me to keep on creating and pushing myself out there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you have so much going on, not only with your acting, but on your day-to-day. Being a creative really seems to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
Is this something that you knew you wanted to do since you were young?
Actually, yeah. Aside from my dad being a major inspiration, because I used to really watch his teleseries and all that stuff. I also am a producer of my own music videos. I think I've showed you one of my music videos before. It was cringy, but I had this eye already of producing, editing, shooting videos. I've always had a knack with filming in general. So I guess it started way when I was younger. I really was really into it. Like, it was my passion ever since. And all throughout, like, growing up, I would like be into theater. I did productions also back in college. And like during my college days, like I had some film friends who would get me as a talent, even without TF, and I would instantly say yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like just passion ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it just grew from there.
So you mentioned that when you were a kid, you liked being behind the camera. What
Yeah.
do you prefer? Do you prefer being in front of the camera, or do you like being the mind behind it?
Yeah, I'm a bit torn, but like growing up, I feel like I love both. I like the process at the same time. I like being in front of it, because
Right.
maybe because I was just like immersed at such a young age with the environment. So I was just like, I'm just in love with both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take it back a little. You grew up in a household where the public eye was kind of normal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what was your early relationship with things like fame and creativity and being on, so to speak, all the time?
Yeah, I mean, if people would ask me like, how it's like to be like a part of the industry at such a young age, or like being immersed at such a young age, I'd say it's like both a blessing and a curse. I'd say it's a blessing because, being a daughter of a celebrity, I get access to the industry at such a young age. Like, I get immersed even when I was like probably like 5 years old, stuff like that. I get to
Wow.
meet like, famous actors, celebrities, all that stuff. I get to see my dad do his thing up close. So it really is a blessing. And, I get to have sort of leverage that some doors were open for me because of that kind of like connection. But at the same time, it's a curse because like, there's this ongoing reputation that I have to live up to, like an image that I have to live up to that I didn't build for myself.
Right.
And that, people would always say that they already know my story before, like getting to know me or like before really talking to me, because there are like constant like comparisons with me and my dad, my work, and with my personality and my looks. So yeah, there's just this ongoing pressure that I always have to live up to. But yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, I guess it must be quite difficult also when people say or think they know you
Yeah,
before
exactly.
they even give you a chance
That's true.
to kind of be who you are and speak for yourself.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, was there ever a turning point, like a specific moment where you went like, okay, wait, this isn't just something that I grew up around. This is actually my path, and it's what I want to do. Do you remember when that became clear for you?
I think that was when like I was about to graduate from UP. I think we were like this was before our Davao trip. So just so you know, guys, we had like a graduation trip before, and I don't know, that trip just made me realize like what I really wanted to do in life. And I was in the middle of like auditioning and doing VTRs, and I was like, okay, I hope like this turns out for the best, and I think this is what I really wanted. And yeah, it just clocked to me that acting was really what I envisioned myself in doing and being like, in the creative scene.
It clocked to you.
It clocked
Justin
to me.
Bieber. Is
Yeah,
that
it
you?
clocked to me. And
Okay, interesting. And how come? I mean, a lot of people normally would say that this kind of was a realization a little earlier in their lives. Like when they were kids, when they were in high school or grade school. But for you, it came as you were graduating from college. What was it that made you think like, okay, this is it, this is the one?
yeah, because I would always look back on like, when I was a kid, when I would like do a lot of like producing and like edit and stuff like that, and I realized, oh, maybe those are the stuff I'm really good at. Might as well, like hone it and like improve it more and try to invest more of my craft. And that's where it clocked to me that this is going to be my business.
Right. Okay, so we have a Bieber fan here. Now, I love that. I mean, it's really powerful when the thing that you just used to be around
Yeah.
becomes sort of like a part of you, like an intentional choice. But let's shift gears for a second and keep it light. So what is a super common assumption that people make about you that's just completely off? Like if we made things people
Okay.
think about Angela that are totally wrong list, what's at the top of that?
I think it's more of like because I have an RBF or like I look so sungit or like
Yeah.
intimidating at first. They think I'm like not approachable or like they think I'm spoiled. That's what I really hated because they don't know that I'm a very dedicated person as what my friends would describe me. When I want something, I really try I give everything to like pour my heart into it and stuff like that. But some maybe like they have assumptions on that since because like I'm a daughter of celebrity, it's like I have it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's spoiled, she doesn't do this and that, she doesn't know how to clean. Like, girl, I clean, I wash my dishes, I do all those stuff, you know what I mean? There's just this assumption that I'm already handed like a golden spoon
Right.
and whatnot. So yeah.
And I think it's the same with a lot of quote unquote Nepo baby. So I don't really like the term because
Me
it's
neither.
become kind of derogatory in a sense, but that's what we're here to do, to kind of shift the perspective on what a Nepo baby is, because it is a title, it is a label, but what does it really mean? And I feel like a lot of people, when they hear the term Nepo baby, it's like, okay, everything's handed to this person, but like you said, it's not always the case.
Yeah.
So for you, what's wrong is that you are not spoiled, number one, and you are not a B.
Yeah, that's
You just
true.
have an RBF, but you're actually quite approachable.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, monsters? Is that true? Well, monsters, we got so much more to talk about. Currently, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I am your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about names and narratives and just forging your own identity in the shadow of legacy with actress, creative, and also taekwondo. Taekwondo gal. What is it called? Taekwondo player?
Taekwondo martial artist.
Yeah, so taekwondo martial artist Angela Alarcon. We are going to be back right after the break, only here on Manila Saddest Monster RX 93.1.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Manila's hottest monster, RX 93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are joined by Angela Alarcon as we talk about navigating identity, legacy, and everything in between. So let's talk about that label that's been floating around everywhere on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere. Nepo baby. For anyone who's hearing it for the first time, Nepo baby is short for nepotism baby, which is a term that's used to describe someone who's had opportunities in their career because of their famous or influential family. Now, it started off as a meme, but it's grown into this larger conversation about privilege and identity and what it means to earn your place, right? So, Alarcs. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the label Nepo Baby. Now, it's been thrown around so much in pop culture lately, and sometimes it's a punchline, sometimes it's critique, right? What's your relationship to that term? Do you embrace it, reject it, or do you feel something in between?
I feel like nonchalant about it, honestly, but some people think of it as like derogatory, but I don't want to like get too much affected by it because like what I said, I understand my privilege, but it's also my responsibility to, you know, like carve my own path and, you know, create my own identity and build my own success with the influence I have. So I try to like take it into a positive light of some
Right.
sort. So yeah.
Has anyone ever like called you a Nepo Baby and you were like, and it was like, whoa,
Honestly, like, yeah, in my head I was like, okay, whatever.
right?
Because like they honestly don't know what we have to go through as well. Like they expect that again, like we're just handed like the golden spoon and like, you know, given access to this and that with like opportunities and stuff. But people like overlook the fact that we also have to do the work ourselves. Like we have to push out content. We have to always keep on like being active on social media. So brands and like projects would like knock on us and stuff like that. So yeah, we always have to do a lot of PR as well, and you know, do the work, auditions,
Yeah.
VTR, stuff like that. So yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just like the tip of the iceberg with what
Right.
people see and what they maybe like create assumptions on
Yeah.
that term. So
That's
yeah.
fair. To be fair, I think the reason that people like have a negative connotation with what a Nepo baby is because there are Nepo babies who literally like get handed the silver platter, don't do
100%.
anything. Like they don't, it doesn't seem like they deserve it.
Sure.
But it kind of taints then the other people who are part of influential or famous families that actually do the work to get to where they are. And that's, again, monsters, that is what we're trying to, that's the perspective we're trying to shift here. Now, it is such a loaded term, right? On one hand, yes, it does point to real access and advantage, which I'm sure none of you guys deny. But on the other hand, it can also dismiss all the work that you guys put into building a career, especially in the public eye for those who are going in the show business path. Now, how do you personally draw that line, you know, between acknowledging the privilege that you were born into and also fully owning your path and your own wins?
As much as possible, it might be as cliche, but I just try to like remain authentic, and I just try to like stay true to myself. Like, you know, I always show like a part of me on like online, and like I always showcase my hobbies and, you know, what makes me as a person rather than just, you know, living up to my dad's last name. Because again, like sometimes like my success is credited to his last name, and you know, I'm always going to be associated by him, which I don't want to like, you know, put it in a negative light. I'm always like grateful for that, but you know, eventually like despite like all your achievements and stuff like that, they're always gonna like associate you with your dad and stuff. So yeah, as much as possible, I try to, you know, remain true to myself, show a lot of people what I'm all about, like my interests, my hobbies, and yeah, I just show them like some parts of me that, you know, can actually remove that certain stereotype.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be, I would say there must be a lot of pressure and also maybe some frustration
Yeah.
that they can't separate you guys. Sometimes it's always, anak ni Jestoni yan.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like I'm sure you want to be, I'm just Angela, you
That's
know.
true,
Like
absolutely.
that's just me. Now, it's cool that, you know, you're doing your part also, but again, like you said, it's hard to separate it sometimes.
True.
Now, because, you know, people assume that it is all easy. You know, they don't really see the pressure. Sometimes it feels like no matter what you do, you're already being measured by your dad's legacy, right? But do you ever feel that pressure, like you have to work harder just to be seen as legit, or just to prove that you're not just someone's daughter, you're not just anak ni Jestoni, but you're actually somebody who's your own person, your own voice, like you're Angela?
Yeah, as much as possible, I try to like create like a twist on what makes me who I am, and like, you know, people honestly, like not all don't know like that I'm into taekwondo and stuff like that, like people get super like they get gulat that I'm into sports a lot. So, I mean, I always try to like show them that, I mean, I'm more than just like my dad's like daughter and stuff like that. So, yeah, I always like just show them like the real side of me, as much as possible. Yeah.
And what is the real side of Angela?
Ooh, yeah, I just want to like let people know like more about my personality. I guess I think you know this by now, Ria, that I'm very like passionate about like art. I do a lot of like film. I like photography. I do traveling a lot, and yeah, there's just more to me, I guess. Yeah.
More to you than just being someone famous,
Agree.
someone famous's daughter.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
was there ever a turning point for you, like a moment where you felt like, okay, this is mine now? Like you finally stepped into your own lane on your own terms, or do you feel like you're still in the process of getting there?
I'd say like I'm still in the process of getting there. It has improved. Like before it was more of like, okay, I'm probably like still under his shadow, but like right now, like I'm just trying to get out of that mold, by creating my own path, like deciding on my own, like trying to be more direct as a person with what I want. Because before I'd be just like go with the flow with like whatever's like instructed to me to do this and do that. But right now I think like at this age I'm more like firm with what I want and the direction I want. So yeah, I'm just more like open now with whatever that will help me grow as a person and as a creative.
Right. Now, what would you say is the difference in your dad's work and in yours?
Well, my dad was an action star. He does a lot of like action movies. Fun fact, in my basement, he collects a lot of like his posters. So yeah, he's an action star. He does a lot of like dramas too. He's like he does a lot of like dad roles in teleseries. I guess the difference would be I am more I guess like flexible. I'd want to explore drama. I do a lot of like contrabida roles as well.
It's the RBF.
It's probably the RBF, yeah, the kilay, I don't know. But yeah, I also like want to incorporate like a lot of my creative side as well, other than just being in mainstream media.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're trying to carve your own path. You also love the work behind the camera. When you're on camera, do you ever like kind of say, hey, maybe we can do a little something else here? Like, do you ever kind of get into the producer director role-ish?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, yeah, I get so tempted every time I'm on set. Like behind the scenes, I would like go to my cameraman and we'd like I would play with the cameras and they would like teach me like all those like technical stuff. So it really is exciting, to be like behind the scenes too. So yeah, I'm honestly like considering it now as well. So yeah, in the future we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Now, can you share a time when you felt really seen, like not as just your dad's daughter or someone from a certain family, but just as Angela, the artist, the woman, the creator?
I guess it would go back to the time when actually it was just recently. I was in the States, remember? So I don't know, just like meeting like a bunch of like creatives as well, and like meeting like-minded individuals who does a lot of art. I think that's when it clocked to me that they saw me for me, someone who's like very appreciative of like creating art and like just like just enjoying my company and stuff like that. So that's when I realized that, oh, okay, so there are also a lot of people who like me for me, who like what I do, who like what I like what I create, and probably like the presence I radiate to them.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like when I meet different people from different walks of life, that's just those are like some realizations that I really treasure.
Yeah. Now, I've been curious about this because you're an actress here in the Philippines. There are people you met before the spotlight, before show business. So those are people who like know you for you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
then there are people you meet after show business, right?
Yeah.
And I imagine, like, how I always picture it is that it could be like you kind of have your guard up a little bit more, maybe because you don't know if they want to be friends with you for you, or if
100%.
it's because of the limelight, or in your case, the family name.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you handle that? Like, how do you differentiate real from not?
Honestly, like for some reason, I'm maybe because I'm an empath, so I can like read people like based on like maybe their nuances or like how they approach me and stuff like that, and I just like honestly just reciprocate the energy they give to me. If like I find them maybe like such users or like if I find it kind of like shady, that's when I won't really like connect as much. You know what I
Right.
mean? But when I find them like if they have like good intentions and they want to get to know me more because of like who I am and want to be friends with me because of who I am. I mean like I'd totally keep them. But like I always have this like kind of like wall for some reason,
Right.
because I don't know, it's just built ever since. But I also let people in if they're worthy. Wow, no, I'm just more wary,
Right.
just cautious. Yeah.
Is this something that developed after getting into show business, or was it always the case with you?
Yeah, it developed later on in life. But yeah, I mean, growing up, I mean, I always had that like idea going in me, like having to know who to trust and stuff like that.
Right.
But I was more loose before as a kid because I didn't know how it was like fully to be under the spotlight until I became one. Until I became like my dad. So
Right.
I kind of like understood now how it's like. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you met people in the States
Yeah.
who really saw you just for you. Now, those
Yeah.
moments really do matter. I mean, they're proof that, the work speaks, that you speak. Of course, with visibility, there comes praise and criticism, sometimes from people who don't even know you, right? So how do you stay grounded through all of that, especially when other people project assumptions or expectations on you?
Going back to how I said, as much as possible, I just try to be my authentic self. Like I try to be my kalog self, my kulit self most of the time. Like I just try to showcase them for who I am. Just what they see is what they get. You know what I mean? That has been my mantra ever since. So yeah, I mean, I just don't like just faking it. And I guess like the real side of me is like what made people draw near me. You know what I mean?
How do you handle it though when people have all these expectations and assumptions about you?
I just try to like be nonchalant about it these days because what else is there to do? I mean, there are also some people who are willing to listen with what you have to say, but as much as possible, the only person you have to prove is yourself. I
Right.
mean, you don't have to. I'm at this point in life where I don't have to keep impressing other people. I want to stay true to myself. Who with what makes who I am. So yeah, I just try to stick to that as much as possible.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, yeah, there are moments when I would feel like, it's not enough. I mean, people might have had more expectations, but I just came to a point that, I just want to keep doing my best. And if people see it, then okay, it's good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just just chill about it as much as possible. As long as I'm having fun and like, doing my best.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yeah, but I imagine like in the start when you were kind of newer to
Oh,
the
yeah.
spotlight, the criticisms must have been difficult to ignore. So
100%.
what were some of these criticisms that you heard? Was it ever like yan yung anak ni, like like a comparison to your dad? Was it ever like that? And what did it feel like, and how did you get to where you are now, where you're kind of like I mean, I'm doing me,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I was starting, of course, they'd always see me like, as anak ni Jestoni, stuff like that. And yeah, they're like of course, like unspoken comparison with, my personality or like how I look, with like, oh my God, mas kamukha niya yung tatay niya, ay, mas kamukha niya yung mommy, stuff like that. Like, parang, like, I don't get offended by it. I mean, it's okay. But like, as much as possible, like, at some point, you get tired of it. Like, parang, I'd rather them get to know me for who I am rather than like, just, getting to like, just like painting a picture because of my dad, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, at first it was like more of like, I would beat myself harder when I was starting because I have to like earn my spot and like put myself really out there and to get what I want, to be as successful as my father. But I've come to realize that we're both in different generations. It was like different before. Fame now is like sporadic and like ever changing. Now we're in the digital age. So there's this like thing of like acceptance now that whatever flows will flow, and if projects are handed to me, then I'm just grateful. I'm no longer like like fighting and competing and stuff like that compared before. So I guess that's where I'm seeing my growth as a person, that I'm just like just chill about it, just grateful for whatever comes to me. So
that's a good mindset. Now I think it really is constant practice for you. I mean, like you said, you were beating yourself up in the very beginning because you felt you needed to earn your place and prove yourself to other people. But now you're like, okay, I only need to prove myself to me this time. So, it's constant practice of choosing what to listen to and what to let go of, which I think is hard. But do you have any rituals or routines or people that help bring you back to yourself when things feel like loud or blurry?
Yeah, I always go back to movement. I guess because I was an athlete, Ria. Like, me, I'm very kite-kite. If I don't move, like, that's where the overthinking will, like, consume me. But yeah, I do a lot of movement. I do a lot of running. I do a lot of, like boxing and stuff like that. So that's, like, where I pour my heart into it, just to, get back on my feet and, know how to navigate my emotions and build myself. So yeah, with movement and probably with like traveling too. Like with traveling, it gives me a lot of like perspective on like the deeper meaning of life and what matters and stuff like that. I'm at that point already where it's like all these like like new environment actually helps me to see things in a different light, that there are a lot of like problems, but at the same time you can like get through it because the world is so big, stuff like that. So yeah, with traveling and movement, it's like it's really my essentials. And
that's so important, especially in like a career or a path like yours. You need something that keeps you grounded. And I think people tend to underestimate how important these things are. So for you, it's movement and traveling, and I think that's something that everybody, famous last name or not, can relate to. They need to return to your why. And of course, protect the parts of yourself that don't belong to anyone else. So Monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Ria Rams, and today we are talking about names, about narratives, and forging your own identity in the shadow of legacy with Angela Alarcon. We'll be right back after the break, only here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1.
Okay, bye.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Ria Rams.
hottest, Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. It's still me, Rhea Rams, and Monsters, if you guys are tuned into the live, I don't know what's going on. Why is it like that? Hold on. Monsters, you know what? We'll be back in a little bit as we fix this, so make sure to stay tuned because we have so much more in store for all of you. Angela, maybe you can just entertain the viewers in the meantime. Give them some love. How about this? Angela, you're tuned into Angela Alarcon. You are the daughter of famous actor, politician, Jestoni Alarcon. What are some of your favorite memories back when you were younger and you were watching your dad, you know?
Yeah, I remember being on set. The location was in Enchanted Kingdom.
Oh my gosh!
So that was really fun. I mean, I get to see Enchanted Kingdom at night. So, it was like such a pivotal moment for me seeing the carousel at night.
Was
and,
it like
seeing
empty?
It was empty.
Oh my god!
So it was like a movie, and yeah, I got to meet like my celebrity crushes that time. So it was a pretty like good memory of mine. I was in Enchanted Kingdom. We were like just hanging out and watching my dad on set. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
And how has your dad? I mean, again, we can't deny the fact that being a quote unquote Nepo baby has its privileges. Now, your dad had been in the industry for such a long time. So I'm sure he was like, he's a veteran actor,
Yeah.
And when you were starting out, did he ever like give you tips? Did he ever teach you, how to better yourself with your work?
Yeah, he would always just say na dapat marunong ka makisama. Kasi, on set, we always like, try to meet people from different walks of life, and you have to work with people from, different backgrounds. So it's always like trying to adjust yourself in situations and being adaptable regardless of the environment you're put into. Especially with like tapings, we were always like in different like locations, and yeah, it's all about like adapting with the environment you're in, with the people you meet, and trying to have like a positive outlook with work in general.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think it's so important that yung pakikisama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't know, like you meet a lot of people who are in the limelight. I mean, at least this goes for all careers, but especially with show business, when you're a celebrity, we hear a lot of stories about celebrities who are like
Agree.
not that great in person, but it's so good that, for you it's been instilled in you like
Yeah.
to treat everyone the same way.
That's true. And to just, stay humble as much as possible, and just treat everyone equally. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Monsters, we are back. Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are here with Angela Alarcon, actress, creator, and of course, we are talking about narratives, names, and forging your own identity in the shadow of legacy. So, let's talk about pressure this time. Now, there's the pressure to live up to something, especially when people know your last name, right? But there's also that pressure, again, to carve something totally new. Now, how do you deal with that tug of war? The feeling of being pulled between honoring the past or honoring your dad's legacy and also wanting to break free from it.
As much as possible, I want to keep that balance. I mean, again, I try to understand and respect the legacy and privilege that has given to me. But as much as possible, it's like as much as possible, I want to also carve away from that, just being that, and further grow from that, and being able to create my own like success other than my last name. So it's just that balance of like self-reflecting, I guess, like knowing it's going to be there forever, but at the same time knowing what to do about it, like what to do about that responsibility, of trying to be your best, and trying to do your thing. So yeah, it's just about that balance.
Right. And you say like one of the most important things is to be yourself.
Yes.
But how do you bring that amidst all the judgment or the preconceived notion of who you are because you are the daughter of this person or because of your last name?
As much as possible, when people try to like get to know me, I also try my best to like show them who I really am. And yeah, it's just like maybe show them what I can bring to the table aside from just like my talents and whatnot. So yeah, it's just like as much as possible I try to be real.
Right.
You know.
Now, when it feels like people are either waiting for you to fail or succeed in a specific way, what keeps you going? Like, what keeps you passionate about your craft, even when the narrative isn't totally in your control?
I guess I would try to look back on like the achievements I've probably done and stuff. I know it's not like at par with my dad yet, but I always try to reflect and look back on the stuff I've done already in the past and the work I've done, the achievements I've done, and try to make myself feel better and try to go back to that inner child of mine and see if I've achieved one of my childhood dreams. So yeah, I always try to go back to young Alarcs and try to think that she's making it. She's doing her best. She's pursuing what she wanted. So
Yeah.
I always try to go back to that past version of myself.
Now, you mentioned something interesting, right? Like you said, not at par with my dad yet. So, like, I think the question now is, as somebody, like, I guess, I know this is your perspective, but
Yeah.
this would also go for all quote unquote Nepo babies. Is it always bugging? Like, is it always there at the back of your head? Like, I need to live up to my dad or my mom or whoever, like this person, I need to live up to that? Or is it like more you create this goal for yourself? So where are you there?
It's also actually it's both, honestly. Yeah, again, there's like this like ongoing like pressure of trying to live up to a reputation or an image that I have to keep up, especially because I didn't build it for myself. So there's just ongoing like battle, I guess. But yeah, it's like unspoken, but at the same time, it's also a self thing that since I'm a very competitive person, Ria, you know me, like when I want something, I try to make sure to do it, and just as much as possible, I try my best to do whatever it takes just to grab something or to achieve a goal. So it's also like a self thing that I have to battle against of trying to you know I guess show my potential. You know.
Yeah. So, have you ever had to unlearn anything about what success looks like? Because again, from a young age, you've been exposed to your dad, who was a very successful actor.
Yes.
So, was there anything that you had to unlearn about what success looks like, or even what makes you worthy of
God.
success? Especially in a space where image can sometimes matter more than intention.
Right now, I feel like success is less with the noise. It's more of like just, maybe enjoying life now and trying my best not to, go more on like the status. I guess success is more than, the status, the money you're earning. I mean, how many projects you're getting. Success for me is being at peace with yourself and knowing the deep core of what makes you your person.
Right.
So that's what success is to me right now. Ultimately, knowing who you are and what you can bring to the table to help more people to, learn more about themselves too.
Right. And what did success look like to you before?
Oh, the latter. Maybe, being famous,
Yeah.
having a lot of projects here and there, knowing your name wherever you go, all those like glam life and stuff. But being in the industry taught me that it's not all about glam. It's like it's really a process. People don't see the behind the scenes. That it really takes a lot of like preparation
Right.
and hard work. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, success before looks really superficial, but now for me, success is more of like spiritual. Like,
Okay.
knowing the true core of what makes you as a person and knowing what will make you happy
Right.
and content.
Yeah, because I think that's so important. Sometimes your biggest wins are more internal
Yeah.
rather than all the titles and
Mhm.
all, like what you said, all the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mindset, it shifts. The boundaries, they shift also, and these are the breakthroughs that the people don't really see.
Yeah.
Because to a lot of people, this is what success is, but to you, it's great that you've come to a place where it's more internal now.
Yeah.
Now, has this job changed the way that you see love or relationships or just your self development?
Um, I guess before it, I mean, I find it like hard to again connect with people on a deeper level in the industry because I always have this presumption that okay, they're also actors. They can also act like they can also like act. I mean, trying to get to know me and stuff. But
Right.
as time went by, I realized there are also like really like genuine people that going to meet in the same industry, and yeah, it's just all about like finding the same energy and whether they're gonna reciprocate it or not. So yeah.
What about your relationship with failure or the fear of not meeting the expectation that you set for yourself, especially under the, I wouldn't say shadow, but with the legacy that your dad has built? Is this something that you've had to reframe, especially coming from a world where people are just watching you so closely?
Yeah, it's always I always have to like reframe it, especially for example like when I feel like I didn't do my best at a certain like project or role or whatnot. Like I always have to reframe it into thinking that okay, there will be more in the future. So I always have to just think of it positively that I'm going to redeem myself in a different sense in a different like project. So it's always like trying to like think of it positively and like bettering myself, I guess, and to challenging myself more, I guess. So
Wow, that's such a healthy way to see, I guess, falling short or failure. But honestly, like it does get to you sometimes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
how exactly do you deal with that when it does get to you, when it feels a little heavier?
I turn to my friends. Yeah, as much as possible, don't want it to consume my life, and I don't want to like completely revolve around it. So, as much as possible, I try to go back to being present and trying to live life outside like all that noise and
Right.
stuff. So, yeah, I guess it helps because it reframes me to my purpose and to what matters. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when I'm like exposed to such like different environments and being myself, it's just like I guess it motivates me to try again
Yeah.
and get back up. So
Right.
yeah, I guess I need to have that like reflection and like
Support
system.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it goes back to what you said earlier, that success isn't, sometimes it gets lost, right? Like that success isn't about how well I did here or how many projects I get. Sometimes it's really just your contentment with yourself. So it's good to have people and things that help remind you of that.
True.
Now, through all of that, the pressure, the projection, the proving yourself, how do you protect your joy? What are the moments that remind you that this is still what you love? That spark, the excitement, the yes, this is worth it feeling. What are those?
When my mom watches my show, she'll be like, anak, okay yung acting mo dito. Actually, magaling dito yung pagkasabi mo. When she actually critiques my
Wow.
acting and like, my work.
Wait,
I
what about
actually-
your dad?
Oh, my dad. He also says like, stuff like, okay, anak, okay yan ginagawa mo, stuff like that. When I get like, those like compliments from my parents, I just like, feel like I did my best, and like it always goes back to okay, maybe I'm not doing so bad, because
Yeah.
these are my loved ones. They're like telling me the truth,
Yeah.
and they appreciate my work, so I guess I should keep this going. You know what I mean?
Has
So,
it ever been, so you mentioned that your dad and your mom would compliment you for your work, has there ever been a time where your dad was like, anak, ba't ganyan? You know, like, parang was there ever time like he critiqued you, and how did you react to it? Like, were you like, oh, okay, or what, did it ever come to a point na parang he kept critiquing you, and you're just like, ano ba yan? Lagi na lang may basta.
Actually, thank God, wala pa.
Wow, okay.
I was like, yeah, thank God, wala pa. He's actually like chill about it. He would just like give me like points of improvements, and maybe I guess with my facial reactions, kasi nga may RBF ako. So yung kilay ko talaga laging like intense.
Yeah.
So I guess like more of like just with my facial reactions and stuff like that, he would point it out. But yeah, overall, he's not really the type to, you know, like beat me up for, you know, what I do and my work.
That's great.
Yeah,
'Cause
supportive naman.
it's great that you have that kind of relationship with your dad, because I'm sure it's such a different case for other Nepo babies who feel like they already feel the pressure from themselves.
Yeah.
And then they feel the pressure also from the person that they're trying to live up to. So
Yeah.
I can just imagine how difficult that could be. Now, that's really amazing. And I think it's a good reminder for anybody who's listening that, you know, your why doesn't have to be loud or flashy. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just yours.
Yes.
So, Monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rio Rams, and today we're talking about names, about narratives, and forging your own identity in the shadow of legacy with actress Angela Alarcon. We'll be right back after the break, only here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1.
Hey.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Ria Rams.
Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Ria Rams. I feel pressured to like know when to look at the camera and not, because I'm with Miss Actress over here.
Wow.
But yes, we are here with actress, Filipina actress, and creative Angela Alarcon. We're talking about names, about narratives, and just forging your own identity, especially in the shadow of legacy. And Angela, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, we did this earlier too, the version of you that was still just trying to figure it out, still trying to find her place, what would you say to her, and what do you think she needed to hear?
I think she needs to hear that everything will fall into place, you know, and to just keep doing you and not to beat yourself too much, and try not to be such a perfectionist because, you know, true happiness and true contentment comes from, you know, experiences, and comes from knowing what you really want and enjoying these things. So yeah, it's just all about, you know, just being happy and trying to be proud of all the work you've been doing. So yeah.
Okay, so this is something I'm personally curious about. When you're working as an actress, right, there's just you have to be kind of locked in your role. You have to be focused so that you can deliver well. There's a lot of things also, like you mentioned, you try to keep who you are outside of your work still solid. So there's a lot of, you mentioned like there's a lot of pressure, and of course there are a lot of things that go on in your personal life outside of show business that could affect what you do on set. So how do you deal with that when things are kind of like do you use your outside experiences for your work, or do you kind of compartmentalize? What's your process?
I actually do some acting workshops as well, and what was taught to me is to try to use your past experiences into your acting. So there are moments where when I need it for a scene, I always try to go back to, for example, if there's like a grieving scene, I always have to go back to my choice and, situations that made me feel a certain way. So it's a mixture of compartmentalizing it and trying to be in the moment as well. There are also scenarios when I had to use like available stimulus, like I have to use the person in front of me to get something out of that scene. So yeah, and a lot of like rapport maybe with like my co-actors, because it's really important to like establish that for the scene to work and for the scene to make it seem real. So yeah, there's just a lot of like things going on.
You mentioned so you kind of hugot, right, from your personal experiences, from your past experiences. Now you mentioned earlier that you do a lot of contrabida roles. So saan mo pinanghuhugutan yon? Have there been moments in life where you actually acted that way in person?
Oh, actually, if I'm having my PMS na. Doon ko na binubuhos lahat. Or kapag sobrang init, Ria, as in, I get so maldita. If it's like so hot, I just get so pissed and stuff like that.
Okay, turn up the aircon, please.
Just kidding. No, but yeah, there are moments when, when I get pissed. I just try to go back to those moments of like, people who did me wrong, or like situations that didn't serve me, and try to stick to that when I'm doing a certain scene.
It's like, this is how I should have talked to you, but I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, that's the fun part about being an actor, you get to like unleash all those like I guess like pent up emotions, or like pent up like anger that like that you experienced before. So it's like a way for us to like really channel it to something else.
I just got an idea, which we'll do in a little bit, but for now, are there things that you're still learning to let go of, like maybe some old expectations, the people pleasing, or that inner voice that says you still have to prove yourself?
I guess all of those.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, like everything, honestly. Like, again, like I'm at this point where it's just like, like nonchalant about it. Like, if there are like opportunities knocking to my door, like I'd be eternally grateful. I'm no longer the type to, maybe compete to myself and constantly have to try to prove myself that, I deserve this and that I should be doing more and that. I'm more of just like, trying to live a peaceful life now. So yeah, I'm trying to let go of those.
Now, for context, how long have you been in the industry?
So I remember getting signed in Sparkle GMA as soon as we graduated in UP Diliman. So that was like right after our Davao trip.
2019.
So 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been almost like 5 years, I guess, more than
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
there were like in that span of like years, I've learned so much, and I've also unlearned a lot of things as well.
I think unlearning is more difficult than learning something, right?
Agree.
Now, for fun, if your life right now had a theme song, what would it be?
Ooh, it would be maybe because of just like top of mind. Walking on a Dream by Empire of the Sun. Walking on a dream, eh. How can I explain? We're always running for the thrill of it. No, because I don't know. Guys, kumanta na tayo dito. I don't know, I just like want to find the thrill of everything. At the same time, look for the peace. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, why would you go on with life if there's no thrill?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as much as possible, I try to make fun of everything and be in the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, now for fun, this is the idea I had earlier. You were talking about using your past experiences or your experiences to simulate like a specific scene. Now, what would you say your favorite genre is to do right now? Like, what are your favorite scenes? Is it the one where you're like kontrabida, or is it the one where you're like dramatic, it's drama, or is it like funny or action? Which is your favorite to do?
Contrabida in action, actually.
Kontrabida in action.
Two in one. No, yeah, kasi since I did martial arts, parang it's my way also to channel it and, show them all my taekwondo skills.
Yeah.
And, since kiti-kiti nga tayo, so yeah, it's my way of like showing that I'm really into movement. So yeah, I'm really into action a lot, and rom-com din pwede.
Okay.
And Contrabida I enjoyed kasi nga, ang dami kong na-release na mga inner turmoil. Wow. Yeah, so yeah, yun yung mga stuff na I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. Okay, and if you could do like a scene right now, let's say you're the kontrabida, but you're making hugot from your real life. Like how would that scene look like?
Ooh, can you be my co-actress?
Ay, wala. This is my audition, my official audition.
May sampalan ba, Tito?
Ay, bakit gusto mo ako sampalin? Okay, sige, go. You have to start it.
Okay. So, ano ngayon?
Whoa! I was looking at the face! How do you do that? Okay.
In 3, 2,
Radio
1.
drama starts now.
So, ano ngayon? Hindi mo ako papanindigan? Ano yung mga pinramis mo sa akin? So, lahat yon puro kasinungalingan lang, ha? Pinaasa mo lang ako? Alam mo ba kung gaano kasakit yun?
I'm scared. I can't do it. I'm scared. Like, I can't. I'm scared. I feel like ako talaga yung gumawa ng mga yun. Wow, that's actually...
Natiri-eyed ka na.
Wait, I'm sorry na. Ito na, gagawin na. But wow, that's amazing. Okay, wow. All right, well, okay, lastly, if people forgot the headlines, they forgot the name, they forgot the legacy, if you could be known for something that has nothing to do with your name, your family, what would it be? What is the one thing that you hope people remember you for?
That Angela Alarcon is authentic. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up for real, we'd of course love to give you the space to share what you're working on right now. So, are there any projects or shows, collaborations that we should be watching out for, and where can people follow you and support your work?
All right, so I have a show right now in GMA. You can watch me on this teleserie called My Father's Wife. It's an afternoon prime, Mondays to Saturdays. So I do the role of Debbie with Kylie Padilla, with Kuya Gabby Concepcion, and a whole lot more talented artists. So feel free to watch that. And also you may keep tabs with me on my social media accounts by following me on my social media on Instagram, Angela Alarcon, on Facebook as well, and on Twitter. So yeah, see you there.
Okay, wait. Now the question is, what is your role in that? Are you kontrabida? Because a lot of people here are saying, grabe, galing. Ang galing, sabi nila. Ay, ang galing, grabe.
Actually, good girl ako doon. So, I'm a Phil-Am supervisor in an Asian supermarket. So, rubbing elbows ako with Kylie Padilla there. So, ako yung taga sol-sol sa kanya at taga-comfort sa kanya. So, I guess doon na lumalabas yung pagiging real friend ko as Angela Alarcon. So, good girl ako doon, guys. Sorry.
All right. Well, it's going to be super exciting. We're definitely going to be watching out for that. Thank you so much for being here with us today. This conversation was just really warm and real and funny and also so necessary. Now, one last thing before we let you go. To the people who have like this preconceived notion about Nepo babies, what would you tell them?
They should not judge the book by its cover. As cliche as it sounds, they should, try to look past just the surnames and, just the credentials they're known for just because of their legacy, but try to get to know them more as their own person. Give them a chance.
Right.
So yes, it's all about like getting to know them deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really what is important and something that not a lot of people get to do because of because of the spotlight on these Nepo babies or the
100%.
legacy that they're they're under.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's not always easy to talk about identity or pressure, especially with this much clarity and grace. And we're really grateful that you shared your story in your own words. And we got to know Angela Alarcon as Angela Alarcon. Now, Monsters, this has been Heard on Thursdays with me, Ria Rams. Tonight we talked about legacy and pressure, passion, and writing your own story with actor and creative Angela Alarcon. Catch us again, same time next week, only here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1.
Monster exclusive interview. Monster exclusive interview. Only from Manila's hottest. Monster RX93.1.